My opinion on Modern Warfare 2 is that it's probably one of the best Call of Duty games ever to be released, and although some aspects of it are extremely tedious to have to deal with, they get buried below how good everything else feels. If you can't already tell, I'm referring to the 2009 game, not the 2022 release. For starters, I cannot afford the 2022 game. Its price tag is like 10 times more than I have in my bank account, and it doesn't really appeal to me. COD for me is peak Xbox 360 nostalgia, you know, coming home from school or waking up at weekends. First thing you would do is load up the Xbox and see who's online to play some old school COD. The new 2022 game, don't get me wrong, it doesn't seem awful. It seems more appealing than the last couple Call of Duties to be released. Pretty similar to the previous Modern Warfare, COD 2019 I think, which my brother bought me, and I played it a decent amount. I enjoyed parts for sure. The campaign I remember being pretty solid, which genuinely surprised me for a modern day COD. Also Gunfight I really liked, and I know a lot of people like Warzone, but I don't really like Battle Royales. I'm sure a lot of people are going to enjoy the new game and enjoy the changes and stuff. For me, when I tried it in beta, it felt alright. I didn't hate it completely. Personally, I don't care for some of the parts that seemingly always make it into modern day COD games. I don't really care about the build-a-gun workshop, you know. The creator class is now so convoluted and detailed that you have to look up a build tutorial for every gun and everything. Whereas old school COD, you used to attach one attachment per gun, change perks and level the perks up, switch them out each lobby. It was just more ideal for me as a way of like making the game more exciting. Me and my friend would always like run class randomizers and then see like which one of us would perform better with the same setup. But I think like modern CODs, that's a lot harder to do because every class is now so detailed, and I don't know, personally that's just not what I'm into, which I'm sure some people do like having like real simulation guns attachments or something. I don't know, I feel like COD isn't that type of simulation shooter. It's like COD is trying to appeal to multiple different audiences and trying to get like a best of both worlds, which I understand, that's fair enough, but I just don't really care for it. Also, like the newer games have such unique user interfaces, you know. I preferred the old games which had such like simple and beautiful UIs, which the modern CODs seem to forget and try and be different all the time. I am always wearing my nostalgia goggles, so I understand if people think I'm just reminiscing the good times or whatever. The biggest thing for me in CODs is whether or not the maps are enjoyable, and this one didn't seem like immediately hateable with the maps, so that's good I guess. But I do absolutely love the old CODs because the maps used to have such personality to them, you know. Like each map you'd have different parts you remember for having like a niche little hidey spot or like obstacle thing you could climb up. And I feel like modern day CODs are too competitively viable or something. Like jumping on the yellow catwalk thing to get on top of a high-rise building, or the crane, or any, you know, like on top of the plane in Terminal. It's just, these are what make the maps great, you know. Like I feel like I still remember most old school COD maps from memory. Sure, I'll struggle with names sometimes, but most of them you remember the name and the layout of the maps because you've played it that much. And it used to be fun just learning maps and dumb little party game modes with friends, you know. Modern day CODs, I feel like it's a lot harder to do that, and I know that's not solely on the developers. I think the community has changed. It's a lot less common for people to want to just goof around in a private lobby or something, but that era of COD was why COD was so fun for me. But no, it's obviously good to try new things, and it doesn't have to steal the old secret formula or whatever to be successful. It's just personally my preference of why I love the old CODs, you know. Hosting Mike Myers, Cops and Robbers, Hide and Seek, Quickscope, No-Scope lobbies, Infected, you know, just random people from like your match history inviting you to all of these, doing out the map glitches. That's what I loved about these games, you know, for the multiplayer at least. You know, message to all friends and recent players. It's a really memorable era for me. Yeah, it was like it didn't try too hard to be perfect. It was just, here's the game, and people had fun with what they had. Obviously, like, there was balancing issues, and some guns were just broken, overpowered, and like whatever demon created one-man army noob tubing, you know, like no one wants that as part of the game. But people would just, you know, in voice chat tell each other to stop using it and listen. And then people would host sniper SND lobbies and stuff, and everyone would just sit there rinsing each other mid-game, or dying and hearing the other people call you all sorts of random slurs, you know. It's just a weird thing to enjoy being raised by, you know. Like, I was just a squeaker in these lobbies, and a bunch of angry men shouting at a kid for trying too hard on Search and Destroy or something, you know. It's just funny. But yeah, the campaign was really good. I loved the single player and Spec Ops as well. It's a really good story, good memorable scenes, memorable missions. Always loved the ice pick mission into the sniper, really good. And then the ending of that mission as well with the jet skis, hell yeah, beautiful. The multiplayer, although a mess and toxic and, you know, unbalanced probably, everything was fun. You know, the maps were good, the creator class was good, unlocking challenges, prestiging creator class, it was all just a nice little mix. Private matches and stuff, you know, it's just, maybe I'm just too nostalgic and I'm biased, you know, but it was just a good game, and I don't think a modern day COD can live up to something like that. I think it is like the era of gaming has changed it forever. Nowadays, you know, everybody's googling like best weapon tier list and always chasing the meta, trying to win constantly, and optimizing the fun out of games is a common phrase, usually for MMOs or something like that. But genuinely, just it becomes people are way too efficient, and they ruin the experience for everyone else and themselves, but they don't realize it until it's too late, and then they blame the developers or the game for not being that fun when it's their fault. It's like, I think everyone's too competitive or something. Obviously I completely get why people are competitive. It's really nice to win. It's nice to be good and see that you're being good by beating people. But you're sort of missing out on just how fun goofing around and being bad is. Like, most games, the most fun I ever have is one of the first experiences when you're awful and learning and everyone's better than you. You know, you don't get tilted. You're just like, this game's fun, it'd be nice to get better, and then you get better and hate it. It's weird. I think this is why I prefer like PvE games, and, you know, just have fun with your friends. PvP is too sweaty, it's too competitive, it's too meta chasey. Maybe that's just a me thing though. I'm sure a lot of people still love multiplayer and love PvP and always will. Somehow it's turned into more of a run about all of games, but I might eventually do a proper review. But yeah, I'd be down to discuss what people think about the game. Don't take my opinion too seriously. Also, I tested positive for COVID whilst making this video, so if I sound even more off than usual, that'll be why. But yeah, I'll see you around. Peace.